Challenge of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's both games were very difficult, very closely contested games, and first thing you think about is how good they are in the interior with Travis and Humphreys and Sharma and their size. They hurt us on the backboard our last game. I thought our defense in that game, watching the film again, was pretty good. We turned the ball over too frequently. You kind of out of character for us in our last game, but you know, just we expect to see a desperate team, you know, like we are to advance. Everyone's at this point is playing for their season, and you know, for us, it's you know, we're not to be an at-large team, so we in order to continue to advance, we have to win this time of year.
Coach, is your message pretty direct to them? I mean, it's that simple. You got to win.
I mean, we just wanted to have a good day today and reinforce the things that we need from a game plan standpoint to be competitive, have a chance to beat Stanford. So, you know, I liked our attitude, our approach to practice. The players gave me great signs that you know, the way we competed today on the floor and how locked in we were, and the ball was moving great. So that's great after you know, after the loss on Saturday, to see that bounce back and have the guys look as good as they did today.
What must happen in order for you guys to make a run?
Well, I mean, you know, we got to get hot, you know, with our offense. We've been a very good offensive team, a very good perimeter shooting team, a good free throw shooting team, and unfortunately on Saturday those things, you know, weren't there. We're just not built to score 60 points and win many games. So, you know, we need to perform better at that end of the floor. Got to execute better and take advantage of our opportunities on offense.
Torian's really succeeded in his 2 games against Stanford this year. What do you think makes him such a good matchup against them?
Well, I mean, he's you know, he's coming off screens extremely hard. He's using screens well, and you know, he's you know, he could do that against most teams. It's hard to put your finger on exactly why it would happen with them, with him being, you know, having 2 of the bigger scoring games. But you know, I thought in our first matchup, our dribble penetration kind of opened things up a little more on the perimeter for a guy like Torian. And you know, our guards got to do a good job in this game of penetrating and getting in the lane and making plays.
Coach, how much has he grown since you've met him?
Who's that?
Torian.
Yeah, I mean, Torian has been terrific. You know, he's couldn't have asked for anything more. I'm so happy for what he's done for his life and what he's meant to the program this year, and been a great example of leadership, and you know, how to work at it day in and day out on his game, and then the results are there for him individually. So it's been a great season. We want to keep it going as long as we can for him.
What do you remember about your conference tournament days?
I remember that I won more national championships than ACC championships, which is unusual. The thing is, it's going to be management. You know, are you managing your team? Are you you know, physically, can you stand up to the demands of having to win 4 straight days? You know, for me, it was, you know, winning 3 straight games is not easy to do, physically and mentally, to be able to be tough enough and to push through those tough games and win consecutive days. So that's going to be our challenge. Can we, you know, can we handle each day and you know, have the right energy for it, attack that, you know, each game, and see what happens.
Is there a secret to that you tell these guys?
You know, you can't look past anyone, and you know, Stanford, I mean, we'd be crazy to look past them. They've, you know, both games easily could have gone the other way, and they do well, you know, throwing the ball inside and working those guys under the basket, and that's something that we have to, you know, we have to rebound, and so. Yeah, we can't overlook anyone, and then, you know, once the game's over, and if you're fortunate enough to move on, you gotta get your rest, you gotta watch your film, you gotta flip the switch and be ready for your next opponent.
Are there any positives to take away from Saturday?
I think our defense, you know, we held a very good basketball team, the 39% field goal percentage, and didn't create the number of turnovers that we normally do, but that's because they're a good team and they handle the ball well and make, you know, fairly good decisions. But yeah, I mean, and to know that we shot, you know, 34% and didn't play great offense and still, you know, still were relatively competitive.
Humphrey didn't play in the first game, and then I think you actually had a rebounding edge in the first game. Was it him that made that big of a difference, or was it something else in the second game where they had such a big rebounding edge?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they defended us better in the second game, and again, the turnovers were part of it. We turned it over too much, and then they hammered us on the offensive glass. So that's going to be a big point of emphasis for us with the size of a Reed Travis and then Humphrey's activity and Sharma. These guys are big, so we're going to have to get 5 guys to the backboard.
As a former point, is it fun coaching this style of play?
I mean, it's scary and fun at the same time. I mean, it's you would like to have ideal size, to know that you can compete around the basket a little better, and that's always a fear going into these games. But we're an explosive team, we're an exciting team. I think a team that plays with a lot of guts, so those are things that I can count on. I've been depending on, and the guys have delivered in those areas.
Did you know right off the bat this is what you're going to have to do, or it seemed like in maybe December you went completely wrong, maybe not?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that we would be a smaller team. We'd be guard-oriented, that we would, I've said in the preseason, I thought we'd be one of the better three-point shooting teams in the conference. And, a lot of those things have held true, but there's a price to pay for playing the size we have. We've been one of the better teams in the country, not turning the ball over, which is great. You're getting a shot every possession. But, on the flip side, our field goal percentage defense around the basket and our rebounding, is always something that we have to talk about and emphasize and try and grind those areas out as best we can.
Sean mentioned he thought you had done a great job with this group the other day. Need anything coming from a fellow coach?
Well, I mean, he's at the top of his profession. He's one of the best coaches in the country, and you aspire to build your program and get it to the point where you can accomplish the things that he's accomplished as a coach. So that means a lot, and it's always fun to play against teams that you respect how they play and how hard they play. And certainly Arizona had a great game plan for us. They defended well. It's probably the best that we've been defended this year, maybe outside of Kentucky early, but we were different then. We're way better than we were at that time of the year.
Because of their quickness, you think? Because they size down to match you guys?
Who was that? Arizona, just because of, I thought, how their bigs moved. Their bigs on defense were the key for them. They guarded us well in their hedging and their switching and ball screens, and we weren't able to take advantage of those guys like we have other bigs.
You had the close game with Oregon. Obviously, like you said, you can't pass Stanford, but being in the bracket with Oregon, is that any better than being in a bracket with Arizona? Or?
It's not any better. It's again, Stanford is where all my focus is right now. I did watch Stanford and Oregon play against each other yesterday because we're in preparing to play Stanford. But you could put Oregon, Arizona, UCLA in a hat and just pick any of them out, and really they're different teams, different styles, but all very capable of making deep run in the NCAA tournament.
Thank you.
All right, guys, no problem. Thank you.